Hey, Kyle's Wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's NJPW Strong from August 21st, 2022. It was recorded on July 24th in Charlotte, North Carolina, and this will be the second week of the High Alert 2022 events. So, first, we've got a little bit of New Japan news to come out from Japan just in the last couple days or so. And I'll get to that first since we don't have any New Japan shows for a couple of weeks now. So the Never Openweight six-man tag titles will be on the line Sunday, September 18th at a Burning Spirit show. And that'll be Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi, and Yo defending the six-man titles against the people they won them from, Evil Show and Yujiro Takahashi. So House of Torture getting a rematch here. Hopefully Chaos can get through that match and on to the next challengers. At the next big event, it'll be on September 25th, Burning Spirit in Kobe, Japan. And we've got three big title matches announced. IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion Will Ospreay and finalist of the G1 Climax 32 takes on David Finlay, defends the title against David Finlay, I should say, who David Finlay returned the U.S. title to Will Ospreay after beating Juice Robinson to take it from him and then beating Will Ospreay as well, then handing him the title. So Will Ospreay said he will never wear the United States title around his waist until he can avenge that loss against David Finlay. Or can David Finlay just get the United States title? That would be big news for Finlay. Anyway, also on that same show, September 5th, Burning Spirit in Kobe will be the Never Openweight champion Carl Anderson defending the title against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Tanahashi pinned Carl Anderson in a tag match just last week at the finals. At that same show, we've got a third title defense as IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions TJP and Francesco Akira from the United Empire will take on former champions, getting a rematch here. Taguchi and Master Wato, 6-9. Unfortunately, they're getting another shot here. I say unfortunately because we saw them break up amicably as a tag team, as Master Wato wanted to form a new team with Alex Zane, who I was really excited to see that junior heavyweight tag team form. However, it's apparently not ready to be taken off the ground yet, as Taguchi and Master Wato have yet another chance to win their titles back. And I gotta imagine they're not gonna win those titles back because we've already announced that Taguchi and Wato are going their separate ways. So that's a little awkward. But it's fine, I guess. Those three titles will be on the same show on September 25th. And then on October 10th, we've got a big show called Declaration of Power, as NJPW goes back into its catalog on the 50th year anniversary to bring out some of the names of shows they haven't used in a while. October 10th also happens to be a sporting holiday in Japan, so Declaration of Power used to be around in the 90s, early 2000s, so cool to see that back. And we have a couple of huge matches headlined on that October 10th Declaration of Power card. It will be headlined by IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match, Jay White defending against Tama Tonga. That's going to be a huge match. And if Tama Tonga can show that he can have a great 40-minute match with Jay White, I don't think Jay White's going to lose the title to Tama here. Everything's pointing to Jay White against Okada at Wrestle Kingdom 17. But if Tama can really show that he can have a great match here, 30-40 minutes long, I think we will definitely see Tama Tonga as the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion in 2023. Also on that show is announced a huge a huge match, because we weren't quite sure if Jonah was going to return or just sign with WWE or what Jonah was going to do. But it will be Kazuchika Okada taking on Jonah on October 10th. Jonah is also going to be at a couple other tours where he brings back Bad Dude Tito, and they'll be along Shane Haste as well. I wonder what Mikey Nichols is doing, because it just listed the three of them from TMDK. So we've got a lot to look forward to in New Japan over the next couple of months. They've got a couple of weeks break until like September 5th. And then that will be the first show where the crowds can actually use their voices and mouths to make noise. Of course, they're going to have less people in the building, less money coming in, but it'll finally be nice after the pandemic. Ever since the pandemic started, we've had clap-only crowds, which is just a huge difference. So let's get into this week's of New Japan Strong. Sorry if you didn't want to hear all of that news. It was just I don't have any news shows I do on my channel, and since New Japan doesn't have any shows for a couple of weeks, I wanted to get that news out. So we've got two huge debuts tonight in the main event, as El Desperado and Hiromu Takahashi will both make their New Japan Strong's debut, and they'll be taking on Blake Christian in a three-way match. Both are longtime New Japan junior heavyweights. They had a free schedule since this was during the G1 that was taking place back in Japan. So this match is sure to be great, although I wasn't a big fan of this one. They went a little bit too much comedy for my liking. We'll get into that, though. And then it'll be the first time that Blake, who was first debuted all the way back on the second ever episode of Strong, it'll be the first time Blake Christian has ever met these two men in a match. However, El Desperado and Hiromu Takahashi know each other very well, having just had a 30-minute match in the Best of the Super Juniors final just a few months ago. Also tonight, we'll see Rocky Romero taking on one half of the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions from FTR, Dax Harwood. Rocky was in that match at Forbidden Door where FTR won the titles, and Rocky told us last week that he cannot stop thinking about how a near fall he had on Dax. He keeps replaying in his mind and on TV, thinking, how come the ref didn't count 3? So Rocky hasn't been able to sleep since that and wants revenge here and closure for that moment, and maybe another chance at the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Titles if he gets a win in a one-on-one match. So that should be pretty good. But first, we've got JR Kratos back in action after having easily won in his last match against Jordan Cruz, and another win tonight might get Kratos closer to a strong title shot against current Strong Openweight champion Fred Rosser. So his opponent, JR Kratos, that is, out first is Drew Adler, who's making his New Japan debut. Drew is a 31-year-old who's been making a name for himself in the PXW promotion, which is from right here in North Carolina where they're taping tonight. Drew Adler has a couple nicknames, Grateful as Crap and the Top Threat Talent. Drew then chugs, I should say, drinks really fast blue raspberry juice in the ring before his match. That was a little weird. JR Kratos now takes his time getting to the ring and looks super annoyed to be in this match. JR Kratos wanted a piece of Alex Coughlin, who got injured, so he's been patiently waiting for either Alex Coughlin to get in the ring with him or to get a title shot. So Kratos doesn't look very happy to be in this match. And Drew Adler definitely has the height advantage in this one, but is giving up a lot of weight. So JR hits him with a lariat right away, but Drew is able to absorb it and fire up. Then Drew hits a chop, but Kratos isn't affected whatsoever. So Drew then shakes his hand and tries to leave the match, thinking it's all over, but Kratos stops him and hits a big chop and a drop kick. Now, big drop kick for a big 300, close to 300 pounder. So Drew then comes back in the ring and tries to do a slingshot attack, but Kratos is able to block that and then hit a nasty looking mafia kick, big boot. So JR Kratos then hits a deadlift suplex, lifting Drew off the mat. Again, Drew's like 6'4". He's not super heavy, but that's a big guy to be deadlifting. That looked really good. Drew's able to kick out of this, but is already looking in trouble in this match. Drew Adler then counters a move into a nice looking armbar, but Kratos is able to get out with one big nasty forearm that dazes Drew Adler. Then JR Kratos hits a release snap suplex that threw Adler halfway, 3/4 across the ring. Then Drew counters the next attack into another armbar, but this time Drew hits some strikes while having the armbar applied to keep it on. However, JR Kratos is able to deadlift Drew to get out of this, and then Drew hits a power slam. That looks pretty nice. Goes up to the top rope, but JR Kratos evades the attack and hits a spinning side slam for the 1-2-3. The winner of this match by pinfall, JR Kratos, and that's now 4 wins in a row for Kratos, who definitely should be close to getting a title shot. But however, the next title shot for the Strong Openweight title is already going to Fred Yehi, with which is a little bit baffling because Fred Yehi is only 1-3 in singles matches in his Strong career. Sure, he's won some tag matches, but the only person he's ever beaten in a singles match is Bateman, which was only a couple weeks ago. So apparently that big win against Bateman is enough for Fred Yehi to get a title shot. We'll see that in the next couple of weeks. But now in the back, we randomly see the Workhorsemen tag team, and that is JD Drake and Anthony Henry. I definitely didn't expect to see these guys on New Japan Strong, but they're both from the North Carolina area, which is why they're here as we're taping this in North Carolina. So the Workhorsemen have a terrible 0-5 record in AEW, but I do know that they're much better than that. Hopefully they get a match on this tour so they can actually prove it. JD Drake then points at the New Japan logo and says, "This right here, this is a symbol of excellence." Anthony Henry then says, "We've been talking about this for a while. It was only a matter of time until the workhorsemen were here. And we're up against two of the biggest stars in New Japan. Kushida, he's a legend. And Ren Narita, he's like Shibata Jr. He's learning from the best, and it's going to make him one of the best." JD Drake then says, "We are two men that's possessed and obsessed with success. Failure is not an option. We are a symbol of excellence ourselves. You'll find out that we're not only one of the best tag teams in America, quite possibly one of the best tag teams in the world." And then the segment ends, which that should be a fun match. Maybe we'll see that next week. Also, too bad that I've seen the Workhorsemen lose every single match they've ever had on TV. So that promo felt a little bit flat. Because they're talking about them being one of the best in the world. They might be 200-0 away from TV, but I've never seen them get a win. But I do know that they're good. That's the important part here. Kushida and Ren Narita should be a good team as well. A little bit of a veteran rookie tag team there. That's going to be a good match, and I'm pretty sure it's next week. So now it's time for our second out of 3 matches tonight as a long rap plays out Rocky Romero, who comes out for the next match. Rocky's rapping the song himself, talking about having one more chance before having to hang it up. And then he wants to prove himself basically before that time. So Rocky's going to be giving up a lot of weight in this match and having just gone up to the heavyweight division alongside Trent Beretta so that they could fight for the IWGP heavyweight tag titles. Dax Harwood now comes out by himself. No Cash Wheeler, his tag team partner in FTR. Dax has been definitely one of the best wrestlers in all of 2022, and this should be a great match here. All the crowd chants for FTR as Dax comes out, and Dax is from North Carolina, so he'll have the home advantage in this match. Unfortunately, Dax is already up to 38 years old, which is only 1 year younger than Rocky, but hopefully Dax doesn't slow down anytime soon after this career year he's been having. I say unfortunately because you don't know if he only has maybe a couple more years of his prime left, and I wish it was a lot more. Hopefully, it still could be a lot more. Things have been getting different. You see people in their 40s all the way up to like in their 50s. People like Tom Brady even still doing it at a high level in their 40s. So science and uh, um, all the different protein and different things you're supposed to eat and diets and medical stuff definitely makes it easier for people to go last longer in their careers. So hopefully that's something Dax Harwood can get. Anyway, Dax is able to use his size advantage right away, and Rocky is showing a bunch of fight here, and Rocky is able to hit a shoulder tackle, taking down the much larger Dax. Good start for Rocky. Dax then hits a hip toss and an arm drag right after that, and great wrestling so far, as we haven't even left the feeling out process, and it's been amazing. This is the match of the night, by the way. I do not like that main event. Anyway, Rocky then goes to pull the hair, but there is no hair on Dax's bald head, so Rocky has to pull the ear instead. That was pretty funny. This also fires up Dax, who then hits some nasty chops, but Rocky answers with some nasty chops of his own. Then Dax's chops are a little bit more powerful, it seemed like, so Rocky goes for a poke to the eye. This stops Dax for a couple of seconds here, but Dax pokes the eyes right back, and now they're both holding their eye. Rocky then ducks under a clothesline and hits a running Hurricane Rana, and now we get a look at Dax Harwood's chest. It is bleeding from the chops that Rocky hit on his chest. They must have been super strong. Wow, I didn't expect to see that. So Rocky now evades a corner charge, and that sends Dax's previously injured shoulder hard into the turnbuckle. That was a big moment of this match. Rocky now goes back on the attack on that same arm and shoulder, taking control as Dax is in big pain now. Dax is able to hit a few punches to get out of trouble eventually, but his arm is very hurt now. Rocky's going to be looking to get his armbar submission on there, but Rocky is able to take control now, attacking the arm again, applying a hammer lock into a Kimura lock, but Dax is able to strike himself free again. Dax then hits some quick jabs, followed by 2 big crosses, and that was a big combo there. Dax then counters a back body drop with a cradle pin for a 2 count. Then Rocky's able to hit a rewind kick right after that for a 2 count. Great match so far. Dax is in a little bit of trouble now as Rocky gets an armbar applied, but Dax has plenty of power, and he's able to get out of this by slamming Rocky or picking him up and then slamming him down. Now Dax counters the next attack and puts Rocky into a sharpshooter, but Rocky's able to get out of this and then hit a nice looking middle rope DDT, taking back control from Dax. Rocky then goes up to the top rope, but Dax is able to catch him up there by getting up on the ropes and hitting a superplex on Rocky Romero. That was a big shot from the smaller frame of Rocky Romero. Isn't going to be able to take much more shots like that. Dax is down 2 because the superplex hurt him as well, but Rocky got the worst of it by far. Rocky then is able still to counter the sharpshooter attempt right after that with a roll up, almost winning the match, but getting a 2 count there. Then Rocky gets a really nice bridge pin, and this is kind of like what he would have been rewinding in his mind and on TV, thinking about that 3 count he almost had against Dax at Forbidden Door to win the IWGP World Heavyweight title, tag team titles. But again, no 3 count is registered by the referee. Dax is able to kick out. Now they both counter each other back and forth really quickly and nicely here, and Rocky is able to hit the Shiranori, kind of like the Destino or the Samurai del Sol. A little bit different though, but anyway, Dax is able to just barely kick out of this at 2. Rocky immediately after the kick out applies an armbar, and that was awesome looking, but Dax is able to use his strength advantage to get out of this again. Then Dax applies the sharpshooter on Rocky, who can't get out and is forced to tap out. The winner of this match by pinfall, Dax Harwood. Really, really good match here. I definitely probably would have rather had an IWGP World Heavyweight Tag Title match instead, because now it's been 2 months since the FTR won those titles, and they haven't defended them once. So I much rather have seen that, because it is a little awkward that they've never defended the titles in 2 months. And really, really good match here. Rocky looks a little upset after the match, but ends up shaking hands before leaving. So Rocky and Dax shake hands. Dax then celebrates with his title in front of his home state fans. And this was some good stuff here. So then we get an intermission. I still never quite understood why there's an intermission for an hour show that's recorded a month ago, but I guess it's just to sell us merchandise. So easy to answer that question, right? It always comes back to because they want more money out of you. You know that. So anyway, it is main event time as All Heart Blake Christian comes out first for this huge match, one of the biggest of his career. Blake had a really embarrassing scene recently at a GCW show where he went off on former girlfriend Cora Jade, who's in NXT 2.0, where Blake used to be. But once he got released from NXT, Cora Jade and him broke up, and Cora Jade's now dating NXT champion Braun Breaker. This was not a good look for Blake Christian to be pouring his heart out in front of a wrestling show about all this drama and stuff, and Braun Breaker taking his girl after he got fired, which I would have kept all that to myself for sure. Not a good look, but yet another what do you expect at a GCW show where embarrassing things is what they're good at? So hopefully Blake got all that out of his heart and can now focus on the rest of his career, because that was not a good look at all. Hiromu Takahashi now comes out next, and he brings Daryl the stuffed cat with him, and both are making their strong debut here. Hiromu puts Daryl over at commentary with the microphone on his head and everything. And now El Desperado comes out third, and he does the Melina split into the ring, which is always hilarious. So anyway, this match should be wild, and there's a lot of time left in this episode, so I could definitely see if Blake Christian impresses here, maybe getting invited to next year's Best of the Super Juniors. This is definitely an important match for Blake Christian to get that invite, and then another important match for all 3 of the men to scout each other, if indeed they're all in the Best of the Super Juniors next year. So Blake Christian definitely doesn't look quite as cool with his shorter hair. Kind of looks like a mechanic or someone that would be working on my car, just a regular old guy is what I mean by that. But anyway, he looked way better with his longer hair, but hair can come back. It's not the end of the world. And it's not the end of the world that he did that thing with Cora Jade either. It's gonna have to make up for it with some great matches now. So huge chance for All Heart here as Blake Christian, as the match starts here for Blake Christian. That's All Heart is his nickname, and nobody does anything for a very long time, but the live crowd is absolutely loving it. That's no fun for me to just watch on TV a month later after it happens. The joke here is that they all want the referee to be in the match as well after the crowd chanted all these guys. So this dumb joke goes on for about 5 long, boring minutes. Nothing happens, and the crowd loves it, but it's terrible to watch a month later on television. Finally, Blake Christian, Hiromu both kick out Desperado, and we start this match, but I'm already not really feeling it because of that 5-minute ridiculous opening. So Hiromu hits a chop on Blake. Right after that, Blake ducks under a Shining Wizard, and all three men catches kicks in a row now. So now they're dancing around while holding a kick in a triangle. And this is a damn PWG comedy match, not what I want to see on Strong. You have the word strong in your match, in your name. Can you please get some strong style wrestling and not this PWG comedy crap? So anyway, all three fake putting the leg down, then hop around for a really long time. And I absolutely hate this match. The crowd chants, "This is wrestling," but they're just a bunch of nerds that probably call sports ball. This is ridiculous. Why like nothing about this is funny. It just reminds you that what you're watching is fake. So I was really looking forward to this triple threat main event match, but it turns into a damn PWG comedy match, which is crap. So they all start fighting, but I've already lost my want to see this match. They've already lost me with all this crap. So I'm just waiting for the match to end at this point. The crowd loves it, but they probably don't watch any sports in their life, so they're just a bunch of nerds that probably call sports ball, thinking that's a hilarious joke, even though every single nerd like that makes the same unfunny, "Oh, you're watching sports ball?" So they're all loving this, but for me, it just reminds me of what I'm watching is fake, and it's not funny whatsoever, and now I don't care about the rest of the match because you just told me that what I'm watching is fake. So anyway, Desperado rakes the eyes and hits a scoop slam. Then Hiromu kicks Desperado out of the ring and hits a chop on Blake. So like I said, this match is it's already lost me because of that. You might be the kind of person who does call sports ball, and you would be fine with this match. Me personally, I can't get into a match like this. As soon as you told me that everything's fake, then you want me to think that these flips and stuff you're doing and stuff like that is actually going to be like legitimate, or they're not just standing there waiting for you to catch you. Obviously, that's what every single wrestling match is. But if within that wrestling match you tell me that it's fake and you want me to know that it's fake because it's this is funny, let's take the piss out of wrestling, let's have a laugh at it, yeah, go ahead and have your laugh. I no longer give a fuck about your match. Sorry for swearing. I try not to ever swear on these, and I dropped a big F-bomb, but it was really ridiculous. I was looking forward to this match, and then the crowd's chanting, "This is wrestling," for this BS. This was BS. This was crap. This is dragging Hiromu and El Desperado down to the United States independent level of crappy matches. They should not be in a match like this. And if this is anything what Blake Christian brings to the table with these crappy comedy matches and his pouring his heart out, quote unquote, yelling about other grown adults choosing to date each other now, then I don't want anything to do with Blake Christian in wrestling. So we'll finish this match because I already that's what I do here. I review wrestling shows, so I'm still going to review it, but they completely lost me already. Hiromu and Desperado chop each other for a minute straight here after Desperado raked the eyes to stop a Boston Crab. All three guys in this match are great, but they decided to do an USA indie match instead of anything closely resembling Strong style. Now Blake hits a lion salt on Hiromu, almost winning the match. Blake then hits a suplex and tries for a springboard attack, but El Desperado pulls him out of the ring. Desperado then hits a top rope splash. Blake Christian's able to get back in the ring and break up the pin. Then Desperado and Blake work strong style a little bit, but it's too late for me to give a crap. Now Desperado rakes the eyes, but Blake counters with a spine buster. They counter each other back and forth here until Hiromu comes to help. Hiromu then gets Hurricane Rana'd, and Blake then counters a dive from Desperado with a stiff kick. Then Hiromu dives to the outside on the Desperado, and Blake Christian hits a nice-looking Fosbury flop to the outside, but then completely botches it and reminds everybody that what we're watching is fake because he wants to do the reverse DDTs, the double reverse DDT off of that Fosbury flop that he was going to do. Everybody fell, but they now take the piss out of wrestling, remind everyone over and over within this match that what you're watching is fake, and then they do the reverse DDTs now since they couldn't do it originally. Crap. Back in the ring now, Hiromu takes control on Blake Christian, but El Desperado comes in. Hiromu then hits a super kick on Blake, and Desperado takes out Hiromu right after. Blake then hits a Spanish fly on Desperado. And if you only watch the second half of this match, you might actually get into it. But if you watch the first half where they just remind you, hey, everything we're about to do is super fake. Don't forget, like when we're all doing these crazy stuff later on in the match, that we reminded you that it's all fake earlier in the match. I don't get it. I don't get why that's a thing. Like, why would I care about your stupid flips and shit after you just took the piss out of the wrestling business for 5-10 minutes before that? Anyway, if you only watch the second half, you might actually like this match. Blake and Hiromu now hit some big moves. Blake does an airplane spin into a rolling Death Valley driver. That looked nice, but again, nothing's going to make me care about this match now. Blake then hits a terrible looking stomp that looked beyond fake yet again. Blake Christian, head to the back of the line, son. I had a lot of hope for you, but everything you've done over the last couple of weeks really doesn't make me like you anyway. So Blake now battles back, but Desperado ducks underneath a round kick and then hits a huge punch. Blake then counters the next move, but Desperado counters right back, hitting the Angel's Wings for the 1-2-3. The winner of this match by pinfall, El Desperado. And like I said, the first part of this match is terrible. The second half is fine, but it made the second half suck because they were attached together. And you just told me that wrestling's fake over and over and over for a 10-minute span, and then you want me to care about your fake moves. Desperado celebrates his big win here. This is unfortunate for Desperado to have to be part of this. Hiromu as well. Desperado says in broken English, but it's still good enough for me to understand what he says. Desperado says, I will win the next Best of the Super Juniors. I like USA, but I hate airplanes. So I can't come to the USA very often, but please watch me and thank you. It's a good promo here from El Desperado, who, like I said, his English isn't very good, but we could all understand him, and he got a good spotlight here at the end of the main event. Wish it could have been better. I wish El Desperado and Hiromu Takahashi got a better debut for New Japan Strong. Hopefully they'll be back again someday, and we can do some better stuff. So here's another thing I've been having a complaint about within New Japan Strong. So not only like a match like this that takes the piss out of the wrestling business, and it would have Inoki like, if Inoki saw this as part of with the New Japan banner underneath it, he would be, I don't even want to say it. So anyway, one of my other big complaints right now as regards to New Japan Strong is that they had like they taped this show, and like all of these are already, this is only the second week of the Charlotte shows that we were able to see. And it's already a month old. So like by the time we get to week 3 and maybe there's a week 4, those are going to be like 5-6 weeks old when they come out, which, I mean, yes, some wrestling companies have to do that, including wrestling companies I cover on the same channel, such as NWA and Impact. They all do that same thing where they tape 1 month and then have a month of recording. But like this time, for example, like already a couple weeks went by before they started showing these Charlotte tapings, which makes them even more stale and old. And then on top of it, in between those Charlotte tapings and when they actually started airing week 1, they had a separate New Japan Strong event called Music City Madness, which was the same weekend as SummerSlam in Nashville. So I mean, it's hard to ever look up things about New Japan Strong unless you want every single thing spoiled for you. So like for me, for example, I did not want it spoiled who won the tag team championships. So I can never really the strong tag team tournament. So I can never really look up news about New Japan Strong for fear of like everything being spoiled for me. So I didn't even realize that the Music City Madness wasn't a show that they were going to like. I thought it was just another thing that they were going to show after the Charlotte events as weekly episodes of Strong. But no, that was a pay-per-view that I had to buy separate. Even though I have a subscription to New Japan Strong, you don't get it on there. You have to go to the Fight TV app, which I would have never known about because they don't tell you. They tell you, oh, there's Motor City Madness or Music City Madness coming up, but then like I said, I was just assuming that's another thing where they're gonna tape these weekly episodes of Strong. So I completely missed out on that pay-per-view. And by the time it was already over, like you start hearing about things that happened at it, you're in the middle of G1 and you're still waiting. Then you're not even quite sure if like, well, are things on the episodes I'm gonna watch in the next month of Strong from the Charlotte show? Is that gonna affect what I see on the pay-per-view? So it's just all kind of a big, huge mess. I don't know why they had that separate pay-per-view, and it looks like there were some good things on that separate pay-per-view, but I'm never gonna go back and watch it now a month later where um we've had all these other things going on, and I still got 2 weeks of the show before that from a couple weeks before that in the Charlotte show to watch as well. So I do not like the whole sometimes we're tape delayed and recorded, and sometimes we're having a live pay-per-view, but this live pay-per-view comes after all these 4 episodes that you still have to wait for a month to watch on New Japan Strong. And also, you don't even get to order this pay-per-view from the same place that you watch New Japan Strong and you pay monthly fee to watch New Japan Strong on New Japan World. The pay-per-view is not even there. It's somewhere completely else where I don't use Fight TV for anything, so I would have never seen it there either. So it's just kind of a weird thing that they got going on right now with New Japan Strong. It's kind of hard to follow, and it's they definitely could do a lot of things better. Like what Impact does is they do have those live shows, just like the Music City Madness one. But what Impact does is they'll show, like, even if it's only 2 weeks of recorded stuff from before, then they'll only have those 2 weeks of recorded stuff in the bank. Then they'll go have the live show that you come watch this on Friday. All those 2 weeks of the tape stuff we had before is leading up to and preparing you for matches that are on this live event on Friday. After that, you watch the live event on that Friday, and then on like the Saturday and Sunday, Impact will then tape the next month of shows. You watch those next month of shows on TV every Thursday, and then you get to like, oh, here's another Friday live event. You watch that Friday live event where the two things all led up to that, like the television show, the weekly stuff, and then so on and so forth. Then after that live event, they repeat the process. But this is ass backwards, like having a new pay-per-view come out before you even get to the recorded stuff that you already did a couple weeks before that, and it's going to be playing for an entire month on the TV show. But here's a live show, and I don't even know if it falls into if it's supposed to fall before or after all the television shows that are still yet to be aired. See what I'm saying here? So Impact, they do that same thing, but they're much, much better about telling you and having everything fall in order. Like, sure, those two things are going to be taped, but then you get right to the recorded, or I mean, the live pay-per-view, and the couple of days after the live pay-per-view is when they record the next things. Then they don't have anything live until after those recordings have been aired, and then you get the live thing again. So that's how you're supposed to do it when you can't do everything live. That's how you're supposed to do it. Right now, the New Japan Strong, the way they do things is not very good. Like I said, I didn't even know Music City. I'm from the Motor City. That's why I keep saying messing that up. But I'm from the Motor City, Detroit. Music City is Nashville, and I had no idea that this was an actual pay-per-view. So there's a lot of things they can definitely fix with New Japan Strong, including not having these damn comedy United States indie matches. There's a reason I don't watch PWG and GCW. It's because they do things like this. Don't put this inside your New Japan Strong. Just because you're kind of like an independent in America doesn't mean you have to do that kind of crap. There's a reason that a lot of us don't watch the independents in America. It's because they do crap like this, then they take the piss out of the wrestling business, and they remind you at every given moment, hey, this match that you want us to really, really care about and like cheer for our moves? Well, don't forget, it's all fake. Thank you for reminding me right before you do all your big moves. So anyway, maybe I upset a few people with my review today, but maybe other people were upset just like I was. Some people, like I said, it basically all boils down to, do you watch sports or do you not watch sports? If you don't watch sports and you call sports ball, regardless of if it's baseball, hockey, soccer, football, then you would have liked that match. But if you watch any sport like I do, I've got my Paris Saint-Germain jersey on as we speak, you wouldn't have liked that match. There's no way. So hopefully things get better at Strong. Like I said, if you missed it at the beginning of the episode, I reviewed all the big news that came out for New Japan over in Japan for the big shows in September and October. We've got pretty much all the title matches set up, and it should be a good stuff. I think the next New Japan show that I'll be covering is next week, Strong. So hopefully Strong gets better next week. We'll have the Workhorsemen in action. Are they the ones fighting Ren Narita and Kushida? Yeah, I think they are. So Ren Narita and Kushida are going to be taking on the Workhorsemen next week, and I think they mentioned another match that'll be next week as well, but I can't remember. And eventually, it's going to be Fred Yehai taking on Fred Rosser for the Strong Championship, and that'll probably be the last match for the Charlotte. So I'm thinking we'll have 2 more weeks of the Charlotte shows, and then I think they've already taped something else past. I think there was 3 pay-per-views events. So that was another thing that was so confusing about the Strong coverage. And like I said, I couldn't investigate it because then I would have found out like who was in the finals of the tournament and who might have won the finals once it actually happened. So I didn't want to know who won the Strong Openweight Championship tag tournament. And then I also it was just really confusing. So they need to do a better job of telling you within the television show what's going to happen, and they also need to do a better there's no reason that pay-per-view shouldn't have been just on newjapanworld.com. Why the heck was it on Fight TV? That's ridiculous. So anyway, I'm going to get going. I'll be back later tonight with the episode of Raw, and I cover AEW Dark Elevation as well. So those will both be out tonight. I do cover other things other than New Japan. So check those out as well. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.